Oh, okay. Yeah, you never know. Let's look at Colombia protests, videos. Holy shit. So, wow. Okay, so protests and unrest in Colombia as government announces plans to raise taxes. At least 20 people have died and scores have been injured. More than 80 people have been declared missing. Jesus Christ. Can't tell too much what's going on here, but wow. Whoo.
Protesters clashed with police across the country Wednesday over a proposal for new or expanded taxes. 40 people were arrested for alleged vandalism, according to the government, and over 40 police officers were injured. Protesters had answered the call from Colombia's biggest unions to hit the streets. In Cali, indigenous protesters tried to bring down a statue of Conquistador Sebastián de Belalcázar and faced off with police in riot gear before being driven away by tear gas. Right-wing President Iván Duque's proposal would mean more taxes for individuals and businesses, an attempt to raise billions of dollars, and, the government says, avoid a downgrade on its debt rating. Diogenes Orjuela is a trade union leader who protested in the capital, Bogota.
This march is the biggest display of outrage against this government, against the tax reform, and against the labor and pension reform. The government has gone against the country, and the country is responding in more than 500 cities.
On Wednesday, President Duque responded, saying only peaceful demonstrations would be tolerated.
Violence doesn't resolve any of the challenges that we have to face as a country. There are no stubborn positions here. Violence cannot be a mechanism of expression.
Wednesday's protests are the most recent against Duque's policies, which began near the end of 2019. Union leaders called for marches to continue on Thursday and announced another for mid-May.
Yeah. Yeah, the cops are literally shooting protesters with real bullets. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen those stories. The president has risen tax on food and health, so there have been protests going on for 8 days now. Police are shooting people not with rubber bullets, but with guns, just like you said. The U.S. media is not talking about it. Jesus Christ. And the thing about it is, I don't know the exact affairs of Colombia and whatnot. I have followed them as much to know, as I said earlier, that they are like a right wing, fairly conservative, damn near fascist government, who are very cozy with westernized powers who have been exploiting them, including using instruments like the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, or just very exploited loans, right? Because you heard the dynamic that's playing out there. It's a lot of labor unions who have galvanized the people to protest over these raised taxes, and that the government said that that it was stated that it was, create another stream of revenue, so that way they didn't get a downgrade on their credit from a loan that they have. Now, I'm somebody who's not against seeing the leveraging of debts and loans and stuff like that. I don't think that it inherently always leads to bad ends. And sometimes you have to be able to use, leverage in different situations to get different results. Use economics to bring about other, kinds of favorable results. That's just real politique. But that this is often used, especially for poor and countries that have struggled with stability and peace and civil order and whatnot, denying them even their basic goods and making it harder for already struggling people to survive. While as the story goes, the rich get richer. So we'll see what happens, and the only thing I can say that is semi-positive is that there's been a change of hands and a change of attitudes recently in a lot of other Latin governments. You had the return of Evo Morales You had the return of Evo Morales in Bolivia. You had the win of his party and the ouster of the fascists that were in there before. You had the return of Lula da Silva in a time when, Bolsonaro in Brazil is, kind of, at his lowest, and a lot of people around him are starting to fall and get called out. You had you have Mexico. You have, the president there who, what I'm saying? Of course, he's not going to be perfect, but he's better than what they had in there before. So the only thing, what I'm kind of getting at is that, like, hopefully there's enough coalition of other like-minded Latin leaders who have clout and the resources to, kind of help them out and hopefully, again, use some of that, any type of leverage that they have to bring about a much more favorable result for the, people of Colombia and whatnot. Yeah, they're talking about it. Orang News. Where's that from? Korean and Global News. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and follow them. But yeah, they're talking about it. So this is, this has potential for some, holy shit.
Puta, ¿qué es esto? ¡Mierda! No diga nada. Espera. ¡Ay, puta! Están disparando a matar. ¿Qué es esto? Están disparando a matar, hijo de putas. Aquí vienen para acá. Miras que esa gente es capaz de dispararnos acá.